Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to another episode of Battles of the American Civil War. And off of Fredericksburg, the largest lineup of land troops, or actually armed troops, in the whole war.
and a beatdown.
And a beatdown, literally a 2-1 lopsided victory in favor of the Confederates.
And the Confederates were outnumbered.
They were outnumbered, but that damn hill thing that they were fighting and mowing the Union guys down, dude. And they kept going like idiots, even with people tugging on their pant legs. Don't go. Did you not see all the people in this red mask? Right. Today, we're almost closing out the year of 1862. We got 5 battles in this one, which is the most we've had in a while, but they're all like literally short ones. I think the only one of them's a decent-sized one.
What are you going to do?
Got the Battle of Kinston, Whitehall, Goldsboro Bridge, Jackson, Tennessee, and Chickasaw Bayou.
Ooh, Chickasaw, we did all these.
We did not. We're going to start out with the Battle of Kinston, fought December 14th, 1862 in Lenoir County, North Carolina, near the town of Kinston, as part of the Goldsboro Expedition. A Union expedition led by Brigadier General John G. Foster left New Bern in December to disrupt the Wilmington and Weldon Railroad at Goldsboro.
Okay.
The advance was stubbornly contested by Brigadier General Nathan Evans' brigade near Kinston Bridge on December 14th, but the Confederates were outnumbered and withdrew north of the Neuse River in the direction of Goldsboro.
All right.
Foster continued his movement the next day, taking the river road south of the Neuse River.
Oh, there's
And that's
that,
our
huh?
Battle of Kinston.
That was a battle, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on. Battle of Whitehall, also called Battle of Whitehall Ferry.
Okay.
Took place 16th of December in 1862 in Wayne County, North Carolina. Part of the Union expedition to Goldsboro, North Carolina. That previous date, 15th of December, Brigadier General John G. Foster's Union troops reached Whitehall, where Brigadier General Beverly Robertson had taken command of the Confederate militia holding the north bank of the Neuse River. There was some skirmishing as the Federals set up several artillery units on a hill overlooking the town and Confederate defenses. According to report of Union commanders, the Federals demonstrated against the Confederates for much of the day on the 16th of December, attempting to fix the Confederates in position, while the main Union column continued toward the railroad, achieving success of the campaign.
Okay. Alleged unnamed local historians dispute. Why are they unnamed?
Yeah, and how we know they're historians.
Right. Well, right. I'm just an unnamed historian. Dispute this account, they say, claiming that one of the Union objectives of the Goldsboro campaign, also known as Foster's Raid, was to destroy an ironclad ramming boat that the Confederates were building on the north bank of the Neuse River at that location. Okay, good. This boat, the CSS Neuse, was one of several identical boats that were being built in upriver locations throughout the South, their purpose being to break the Union naval blockade.
Right.
You're not going to do that.
No.
Only one of these boats, the CSS Albemarle, was completed in time to be useful and succeeded in sinking several Union ships at New Bern, North Carolina, and opening the port to Confederate shipping.
No shit.
Maybe
Just
I
one
was
of them.
wrong.
Right. Maybe the other ones would have done some
right.
damage.
Imagine if they had their evil plan had come to fruition.
Wow. The Union plan was to take the bridge at Whitehall, present-day Seven Springs, destroy the CSS Neuse, and proceed by shorter route to destroy all rail line at Goldsboro. The Confederates had a superior defensive position, though, and they burned the bridge to prevent the Union forces from crossing. Federals spent most of December 16th bombarding the town with artillery fire to destroy the Confederate defenses and destroy the boat. Meanwhile, Union riflemen fired at the Confederates defending the boat. Local tradition says the Union riflemen were firing high all day because the south bank of the river, where the Federals were, is actually higher than the north bank.
Oh, so we didn't recognize that.
Though the river creates an illusion that the banks are even.
Oh.
Right. It's like, this is just shooting over here. They're sitting there eating dinner.
Right, they're like
They had a
idiots.
dance that night, band playing.
I'm aiming right at his head. What the hell's happening?
Ridiculous.
Hey, how about this? Common sense, if your shit's going over him, just aim down a little bit.
Aim a little
Jeez. It's also likely the Confederates suffered less casualties because their position on the bank of the Neuse River was narrow.
Right.
And so only one regiment could fire at a time and in turn be exposed to fire from Union soldiers. Okay. Alleged by an unnamed source. Why are we unnamed? Why are we having unnamed sources now?
Come on.
Tradition also says that among the Confederate casualties were 2 free black teenagers fighting with the local militia.
No shot.
Really, why would they be free fighting for the Confederates?
Who knows?
Huh. Where are they? They're in North Carolina?
Yeah.
North Carolina not free.
Wow.
All right. During the 2 days of battle, Union artillery heavily damaged. During the 2 days of battle, Union artillery heavily damaged the town. The CSS Noose also took some slight damage, and its construction was delayed several weeks.
All right.
Traditions. What the fuck is up with this tradition?
Right. Come on.
History says several civilians took refuge in a stone jailhouse, which was eventually destroyed by cannon fire.
We don't know that. It's all speculation.
Right. More recent analysis by historians have argued that the Union artillery caused heavy friendly fire casualties and that the casualty lists for the Union regiments were purposely underreported. Yeah, probably.
Near sundown, 16th December, fearing they would be caught between Confederate forces from Kinston and others thought to be marching from Goldsboro, the Federals abandoned their attempt to cross the river at Whitehall and withdrew to the west. They crossed the Neuse River between Whitehall and Mount Olive and continued on to fight an engagement at Goldsboro.
Yes, sir.
They're like, all right, we're done here. Let's go, boys. Both sides claimed victory. The New York Herald published banner headlines announcing the alleged victory several New York regiments had taken part in. The Union men claimed they had won because they inflicted serious damage on the CSS Noose and because the forces resisting in the United States were unable to halt the Army's advance. However, the Confederates claim they won, since they inflicted heavier casualties on the attackers than they suffered,
Okay.
prevented the United States from crossing the river, and it kept the gunboat from being totally destroyed.
I would say Confederates, yeah, that's a chalk up a Confederate win for me.
Well, the CSS Noose was completed late in the war, but she ran aground on a sandbar before reaching the sea and had to be scuttled to prevent her capture.
Oh my gosh. Incompetent ass people, dude. I swear. These guys.
So stupid.
Well,
I think I'll give that one to the Confederates.
Yeah, I think the Confederates definitely stopped the objective for the Union, for sure. That moves us on to the Battle of Goldsboro Bridge. Obviously, it's part of the Goldsboro campaign.
Right.
And this was December 17th, one day after Whitehall in Wayne County, North Carolina. December 1862, both Union Army and Confederate forces desired to secure the strategically significant Wilmington and Welding Railroad Bridge. Right. 17th, an expedition under Union Major General John Foster reached the railroad near Everettsville, aiming to destroy this bridge in order to put an end to the vital supply chain from the fort of Wilmington.
Oh, Foster's
gotta get the bridge.
No, shit. Foster's men began destroying the tracks north toward the Goldsboro Bridge. Klingsman's Confederate brigade delayed the advance, though, but was unable to prevent the destruction of the bridge. Damn, that sucks. Foster's troops overpowered the small number of defending Confederate soldiers and successfully burned down the bridge.
Good for them.
His mission accomplished, Foster departed to return to their base at New Bern.
He's like, oh, we're done here.
On their way back, Foster's men were again attacked by Confederate forces, but they repulsed the attack, taking far fewer casualties than the enemy. Foster arrived at his camp on the 20th of December. Total casualties for the campaign, all three engagements at Kinston, Whitehall, and Goldsboro were Federal troops, 577, 90 killed, 478 wounded, 9 missing or captured. Confederate casualties reported 738, 71 killed, 268 wounded, and 400 missing or captured.
Okay, well, all in all, I guess the Goldsboro campaign was a success because they did what they set out to do, without a doubt, undoubtedly. For those who look down on them, right? Right?
But how many?
Right. Well, these are short ones. Told you. That brings us to the Battle of Jackson. This is in Tennessee, though. Jackson, Tennessee. Isn't there a song?
Jackson, Mississippi.
No, Jackson, Tennessee. It mentions it. But anyways, also known as the Battle of Salem Cemetery. Oh, there you go. December 19th, 1862 in Madison County, Tennessee. The engagement at Jackson occurred during Confederate Brigadier General Nathan Bedford Forrest's expedition into West Tennessee between December 11th and January 1st of 1863.
All right.
Forrest wished to interrupt the rail supply line to Major General Ulysses S. Grant's army campaigning down the Mississippi Central Railroad.
I mean, that's a good plan.
Right. If he could destroy the Mobile and Ohio Railroad running south from Columbus, Kentucky through Jackson, Tennessee, Grant would have to curtail or halt his operations altogether.
Damn right he would.
Forrest's 2,100-man cavalry brigade crossed the Tennessee River from December 15th to the 17th, heading west. Grant ordered a troop concentration at Jackson under Brigadier General Jeremiah Sullivan, sending cavalry force under Colonel Robert Ingersoll.
Look at that. Ain't that cool?
Ain't that some shit, dude?
Ain't that some shit?
Damn, Ingersoll Avenue and shit,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah, but they sent him to confront Forrest. Forrest, however, smashed the Union cavalry at Lexington on December 18th.
Yeah. Like he hasn't eaten in 3 days and they set a burger in front of him.
Right, smashed
that
it.
shit. As Forrest continued his smashing. As Forrest continued his advance the next day, Sullivan ordered Colonel Adolph Engelman to take a small force northeast of Jackson. At Old Salem Cemetery, acting on the defensive, Engelman's 2 infantry regiments repulsed a Confederate mounted attack and then withdrew a mile closer to town. to Forrest, the fight amounted to no more than a feint and show of force intended to hold Jackson's Union defenders in place, while 2 mounted columns destroyed railroad track north and south of town.
Oh, see?
And then returned. This accomplished, Forrest withdrew from the area, look at that, to attack Trenton and Humboldt, wherever that is. Thus, although the Federals had checked a demonstration by a portion of Forrest's force, a major accomplishment, other Confederates had fulfilled an element of the expedition's mission. So both did.
Look at these guys. They're fulfilling their objectives,
Right.
dude. Rose Hill is a large home built in 1823, which was during the Battle of Jackson. It was used as a hospital for both the injured Union and Confederate soldiers. The house stands to this day and is currently somebody's home. Well, that's cool.
Oh.
American Battlefield Trust and its partners have acquired and preserved 120 acres of the battlefield as of late 2021.
Look at that shit.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Last battle of the day, and
Moving
we're going through these guys quick.
I mean, the last one was decent. They both did what they planned on doing, right?
Right.
So what are you going to do? I mean, look at that shit. Like, getting in and out.
In and out. Get in, get out, get a sandwich, right?
Battle of Chickasaw Bayou.
Hey, Bayou.
Also called the Battle of Walnut Hills.
Hey, Polly Walnut Hills.
Damn. Fought
Let
between...
me tell you something, Tone.
Yeah.
You hear what I told him, Tone?
You hear what did you hear what I said? I said. Fought December 26th through the 29th. We're like, all right, man, we got 6 days before the next holiday. New Year's, we really want to celebrate.
Right.
It was just Christmas yesterday, so we're good. Mm-hmm. Let's do it. December 26th to the 29th, 1862 was the opening engagement of Vicksburg campaign.
Vicksburg campaign.
Look at that, the opening engagement. And starting in November 1862, Major Ulysses S. Grant commanded Union forces in Mississippi, undertook a campaign to capture the city of Vicksburg, high on the bluffs of the Mississippi River.
They can't get to it, though, man.
One of 2 Confederate strong points. The other point being Port Hudson in Louisiana, that denied the Union complete control of the Mississippi River. They almost had it.
They almost had it.
It's pretty close, though. Grant split his 70,000-man army into 2 wings, one commanded by himself and the other one, Major General William T. Sherman.
Hey.
Look at Sherman getting some majors.
Old Tecumseh Sherman. Now, Sherman commanded the right wing, or the 13th Corps, Army of the Tennessee, redesignated the 15th Corps on December 22nd. His expeditionary force of 32,000 troops was organized into 4 divisions, commanded by Brigadier Generals Andrew J. Smith, Morgan L. Smith, George W. Morgan, and Frederick Steele.
Okay.
Grant's wing marched south down the Mississippi Central Railroad, making a forward base at Holly Springs. He planned a 2-pronged assault in the direction of Vicksburg. As Sherman advanced down the river, Grant would continue with the remaining forces, which was about 40,000. He'd go down the railroad line to Oxford, where he would wait for developments. He also hoped to lure the Confederate Army out of the city to attack him in the vicinity of Grenada, Mississippi. He said, let's see if we can get some guys out of the city so that way Sherman can swoop in and get the rest.
Right.
Nice. Okay.
Good little plan there, I believe. The 7 gunboats and 59 troop transports commanded by Rear Admiral David D. Porter.
Hey, David D. Porter.
Departed Memphis, Tennessee on the 20th of December, stopped at Helena, Arkansas to pick up additional troops, and arrived at Milliken's Bend above Vicksburg on the 24th of December. After advancing up the Yazoo River, the transports disembarked Sherman's men at Johnson's Plantation, opposite Steele's Bayou, north of the city. Proceeding to landing, the United States Navy conducted torpedo clearing operations on the Yazoo,
Hey, you gotta get those torpedoes out of there.
during which the ironclad USS Cairo was sunk.
Cairo.
USS sunk.
Right, that's what its name is now. The Confederate forces opposing Sherman's advance were from the Department of Mississippi and East Louisiana. They were commanded by Lieutenant General John C. Pemberton, who was a Pennsylvanian who chose to fight for the South. You traitor.
No shit.
Oh, he get caught. He's getting put to death.
You ain't kidding.
The officer in direct command of the defenses of Vicksburg.
They'll let General Lee go, but they ain't letting Pemberton
They ain't letting
go.
Pemberton go.
They'll hang him in front of Lee. See this, bud? See this?
Well, there's a difference, though. Lee is from Virginia.
Right. But still.
At least that was a South state. Pennsylvania's not.
Yeah, should have been.
No. The officer in direct command of the defenses of Vicksburg was Major General Martin L. Smith, who commanded 4 brigades led by Brigadier Generals Seth Barton, John Vaughn, John Gregg, and Edward Tracy. Brigadier General Stephen D. Lee commanded a provisional division with brigades commanded by Colonels William T. Withers, and Allen Thomas.
Yes.
Stephen D. Lee was the primary commander of the Confederate defense in the Walnut Hills until their arrival late on December 29th, Major General Carter L. Stevenson.
Okay. All right. So we got a lot of transitioning going on there. Although the Union forces outnumbered the men to their front by 2 to 1, which is 30,720 to 13,792.
We've already proved that don't mean a damn
nothing.
thing.
They face a formidable maze of both natural and man-made defenses. That's the key issue, boys. First was a thick entanglement of trees, which was broken intermittently by swampland.
Ooh.
Chickasaw Bayou, a stream that was chest deep, 50 yards wide, and choked with trees, also acted as a barrier to Sherman's men.
Is there alligators in Tennessee?
I don't know if they go that far up. Also acted as a barrier to Sherman's men because it was parallel to the planned line of advance and hampers communication between units.
Right.
What are you going to do? Furthermore, the Confederates had formed dense barriers using felled trees for abatis.
December 26th, Sherman deployed the brigades of Colonel John F. DeCourcy and Brigadier Generals David Stewart and Francis P. Blair Jr. to perform reconnaissance and find weaknesses in the Confederate defense. They moved slowly ahead through the difficult terrain, skirmishing with S.D. Lee's covering force that had been at Mrs. Lake's plantation.
Okay.
It's like, y'all want some pie? Mm-hmm. December 28th, Steele's division attempted to turn the Confederate right flank, but was repulsed by Confederate artillery fire as they advanced on a narrow front.
Morning of December 29th, General Sherman ordered an artillery bombardment on the Confederate defenses to weaken them before a general Federal advance. For almost 4 hours, an artillery duel took place along the line of the battle, but did little damage. About 11 a.m., the duel ceased. The infantry deployed into their lines of battle.
They're like, all right, fuck it, these artilleries aren't doing nothing. We got to go for it, boys.
Understanding the formidable nature of the Confederate fortifications, Sherman remarked, "We will lose 5,000 men before we take Vicksburg, and may as well lose them here as anywhere else." Dang, dude.
It's true.
I guess, but
Lose them
dang.
before you get to Vicksburg, I guess. At noon, Union troops advanced with a cheer.
Hey!
Blair's brigade moved on the left, DeCourcy's in the center, followed by Brigadier General John Thayer's brigade on the right. Thayer's brigade lost its way in only one regiment, which was the 4th Iowa Infantry, was engaged. Okay, Colonel James Williamson commanded the 4th Iowas, later awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions that day. Good for him. They crossed water barriers and abatis and carried the advanced rifle pits on the weight of sheer numbers, but met stiff resistance when they came against the main Confederate line and began to crumble under the heavy fire.
Crumble.
The survivors fell back against the bayou on a corduroy bridge. S.D. Lee ordered his men to make a counterattack, during which they captured 332 Union soldiers and 4 battle flags.
Oh, no, dude, I love catching those battle flags.
Dude.
That's
the most insulting.
right. Another assault ordered by General Sherman was conducted by 2 divisions under A.J. Smith, his own division, and that of M.L. Smith, who had been wounded the day before, advancing across Chickasaw Bayou to seize the Indian Mound that was in the center of the Confederate line. Defended by Barton and Gregg, skirmishers from the brigades of Colonels Giles Smith and Thomas Smith covered the bayou crossing, and the 6th Missouri Infantry of G.A. Smith's brigade led the way with 20 pioneers.
All right.
Like, we're just pioneers.
Right.
We're not soldiers.
We just want to discover.
Right. I can build you a, I don't know, something. Or get you here.
Right.
They built a road on the far bank.
Yes, they did.
5 attempts to carry the position at the Indian Mound were repulsed. On the far Union right, an attack by Colonel William J. Landrum's brigade of J.J. Smith's division was easily repulsed by the Confederate of Vaughn's brigade.
All right. Well, that evening, Sherman declared that he was generally satisfied with the high spirit manifested by his men, although their attacks had failed in the face of strong Confederate positions on the high
You gotta
bluff.
keep the morale up.
The battle was a lopsided victory for the Confederates. Union casualties were 208 killed, 1,005 wounded,
Damn.
563 captured or missing, the majority among the 4th Iowa and the brigades of Blair and DeCourcy.
Damn.
Confederate casualties were light at 57 killed,
That's light.
120 wounded, and 10 missing. Damn. Sherman conferred with Admiral Porter, whose naval gunfire had also failed to do any significant damage to the enemy.
Never does.
They decided to resume the attacks on the following day. Why not? And Porter sent a boat to Memphis to get more small arms and ammunition.
Fantastic.
We're going to need more.
Fantastic. By the morning of 30th of December, Sherman had concluded that resuming the attacks at the same location would be fruitless, obviously.
Thank you.
And he and Porter planned a joint Army-Navy attack on Drumgold's Bluff to the northeast, hoping that the steep bluffs would provide cover for his men as they advanced. It was imperative that such a movement be started in secrecy so that the Confederates would not shift their defenses force, obviously.
Right.
The movement commenced on the 31st of December, but was called off in heavy fog on the 1st of January, 1863. They're like, no, it was called off to heavy hangovers. Like, I can't get none of my guys out of bed. We have no liquor left. We had to stop like 15 fights last night. We wasted half our ammo at 11:58. Go figure.
Well, during this period, the overland half of Grant's offensive was also failing. His lines of communication were disrupted by raids by Brigadier General Nathan Bedford Forrest and by Major General Earl Van Dorn, who destroyed a large supply depot in the Holly Springs raid on December 20th. Unable to sustain his army without these supplies, Grant abandoned his overland advance. Sherman realized that his corps would not be enforced by Grant and decided to withdraw his expedition, moving to the mouth of the Yazoo, on January 2nd. January 5th, Sherman sent a letter to General-in-Chief Henry Halleck, summoning up the campaign in a manner reminiscent of a famous statement made by Julius Caesar. He says, I reached Vicksburg at the time appointed, landed, assaulted, and failed. Instead of, I came, I saw, I conquered, or something like that. Couldn't do it, but you tried, though.
He and his command were then temporarily assigned to Major General John McClernand for an expedition up the Arkansas River and the Battle of Arkansas Post. Although Grant tried a number of operations or experiments to reach Vicksburg over the winter, the Vicksburg campaign did not begin again until April 1860.
Yeah, man, they've been trying to get Vicksburg for literally 2 years now, but they will. Right. They will. 1863 is the magic year.
They'll get it.
They're going to get them, and we'll see them get them. But
they'll get them.
That's going to do it for this episode. We managed the whole 28, 25 minutes
man, what are you gonna do?
Off of this.
Right.
Not bad.
Shit.
You can do what you got to do.
You got 15 battles in this motherfucker.
We could have obviously continued with the rest of the battles of the year, but that'd be like 9 battles for the episode. Can't be doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
So instead, we'll end the year.
It's too much information in your little brains.
And we'll end our little brains.
Right.
We'll end the year next week with the Battle of Van Buren, Parker's Crossroads, and Stones River, which actually extends into January of 1863. So we got that going for us next week. Finally, the year 1862 is done, but we ain't close to done because the year 1863 has the most battles of any year of the war.
Yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Boom,
boom. We're about to get some moitas next year.
Big battle of the year that will be hyping up all year until it begins in July is obviously Gettysburg. And then it all goes downhill for the Confederates for sure after that because, well, technically,
Confederates won a few battles.
The Confederates are it's already downhill for them.
Right. They win a few.
Because if you look at stats, which we'll get to next week, they're not even close to the Union in terms of big battles or
no.
I guess they are.
No.
But definitely not after 1863. Not at all. 1863 is fucking the Union's year, dude. They do some shit. I hardly see any red in there.
Oh, some.
That's why I said hardly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that we'll be back next week. Van Buren, Parker's Crossroads, Stones River. In the meantime, manscaped.com and 20% off free shipping. Use the code TrueCrime. Also, go check out patreon.com/bangdang for all of these shows ad-free and at least 2 days early. You'll get them before anybody else. And go check out Outlaws and Gunslingers and Battles of the... Oh, no, you're already on Battles of the American Civil War. Go check out This Week in Sports History. And that'll do it for... Also, go subscribe to our YouTube where we're posting up clips and stuff like that. Trying to get our numbers up over there. YouTube at Bang Dang Network. And, yep, next week, some more battles. Closing out 1863. This was the Battles of the American Civil War. We are the Michiganders.
Bang, bang.